What do George Short, Ricardo Hollins, R.J. White, Javon Thomas, and James Tapp Jr. all have in common? Well, they all too damn cutthroat. You know, they all out of the Magnolia, and they all had feet in the streets and 1 foot in the music industry. Yes, Brother Dawood, you know, I want to touch on the Cutthroat Committee. You know, the Cutthroat Committee is not just some record label imprint or name, but their name speaks for itself. Like, you had the Cutthroat Committee as far as the music industry and the group, but you also had that Cutthroat Committee, that of the streets. Now, this is like one of the most gangster labels from out of the city of New Orleans, you know, which was started by and founded by, you know, Soulja Slim and Double Crossa, who was his right man. They both started the label in 2002. You know, we already told you the story about Slim and his beginnings, how, you know, he was a bounce artist and freestyle. He used to do, you know, block parties and other venues throughout the city. You know, he was known when he was 14 years old by the name of Magnolia Slim. You know, he went to Cohen High, but he had dropped out, I think around about 11th grade or something like that. And Slim started like getting involved with like drugs and stuff like that, like the cocaine and heroin and stuff like that there. And he got arrested when he was 18 for armed robbery. And then he did a couple of months, I think, or close to a year. At the time when he was released, he was out there on the strip or on the streets. And it was said that he tried to jack one of Master P's producers. And I know it wasn't KLC, because KLC is his boy, you know. And I don't believe it was Moby Dick. Maybe it was either K-Lou or Odell, or one of them, or Carlos. But I know it wasn't, you know, Moby Dick and KLC. But this around the time when Master P was drafting people from like the South region to do the Down South Hustlers compilation. You know, majority of the artists on that album is from the South. The only ones that was on that album that wasn't from the South, or should I say they was from like the Midwest, was the CCG. Master P boy caught C. But anyway, Slim and Six Court, I said Six Court, I'm sorry, Six Shot, they had did a joint together called Got It, If You Got It, that appeared on the Down South Hustlers double album. You know, Slim did the first verse, and then Six came in behind him. You know, eliminated Static. That shit was tight though. But so Slim gets arrested around that time. You know, that's 1995. Now we're gonna fast forward to like 97, 98. Slim he was caught up in a lot of stuff from that time frame, but he comes out around 97, around 98, and he signed with No Limit. And it was said that when P was about to sign Soulja Slim, that he was real excited of like on a level of him signing somebody like a Tupac or a Snoop. That's how excited he was when he first signed a Slim to No Limit Records. Because before he only appeared on a No Limit song. I mean, he appeared on a No Limit album, due to a compilation, but he wasn't officially an artist. And the first album that Slim rapped on outside of the compilation was He Murdered Life or Death album. And so the Slim, wherever he went, from that time on, he brought Trenitty with him. Trenitty was his right hand falls on that music level at that time. And, Trenitty appeared on Slim Give 'Em to 'Em Raw album. And also Trenitty, he appeared on the True Dogs compilation that C Murder put out through True Records. So you have Slim, he gets arrested again for armed robbery, assault, and drugs. So he did about I think maybe like a 3-year jose. So now he had to Give 'Em to 'Em Raw album. And then while he in jail, he didn't get a chance to enjoy the success of the Give 'Em to 'Em Raw album. So now we're going to fast forward to 2001. The Streets Made Me album comes out there. And he didn't do, the album wasn't promoted good like it's supposed to. So it's sold, but not that much. And I believe at this time, Slim really wanted to start getting his act together. But there was a complaint with him, with his monies, that he felt that he was owed due from Master P. And I remember listening to Reginelli's interview. And he was talking about the beef between Slim and P. He was saying that, Slim wasn't no dummy when it came down to them numbers on the sound scan and all that. And he knew what he was owed, what he's supposed to be owed. That's what Reginelli said about Soulja Slim. And I remember in that Murder Dog interview, Slim was talking about that. He mentioned how, P still owed him money because he knew he wasn't paid properly from Give 'Em to 'Em Raw. And he was complaining about how The Streets Made Me wasn't sold like it's supposed to because it was poorly promoted. And he was going off about him not being paid like it's supposed to. And he was also in that same interview talking about how he took the diamonds out of his No Limit tank, and he used that to formulate, put together his Cutthroat Committee chain. So now you got the establishment of the year later after that album, the Cutthroat Committee imprint, and his partner in that whole venue or that program was Double Crossa. That was when it came down to the business aspect, that was his right hand man. So now you got like the formulation of the Cutthroat Committee as a record label and a rap group. And the rap group Cutthroat Committee consists of Slim himself, Double Crossa, his cousin, 12 Oklok, Logga Black, and the one who been on him from his journey in the music industry, Trenitty. But then you had your other members that was like that wasn't actually officially Cutthroat Committee group, but they was like label mates. There was Gar, Lil Real One, Chaotic, and I believe Magnolia Levy. And I believe XL was the producer that was putting those tracks together for Slim on that first album on Cutthroat, which is called Years Later album. But if you notice that all those names that I have mentioned, these dudes were some raw street dudes. You know, they was they had a foot in the streets and a foot in the industry. Now, when you go into like 12 o'clock, you know, he had beef with BG. You know, we all know that BG was real tight with Slim, but there's different stories. Some said that they wasn't as tight as it appeared to be, and then some people said that BG was low key jealous of Slim. I don't know about this. From what I saw, that Slim and BG had like a sincere bond with each other. And I remember listening to that song, that beef song that 12 o'clock shot at BG. At the end of it, he was saying how Slim wasn't really cool with BG like that, that he was only friends with him because he was using him and all this stuff like that, because of BG's industry connect. You know, BG was connected with T.I. at this time, you know, because BG had left Baby, you know, and BG was going in and out of rehab and all these different things. And you know, you had a time in the city of New Orleans that Slim and C Murder, you know, you had the Cutthroat Committee, you know, Dooney Boys, you know, you had Ivy B Stupid and the likes and a couple of other people. And then you had C Murder with the Cut Boys, and they was like both together. You know, that was a dangerous duel or combination right there that is still fear in a lot of people. You know, when people seen these two groups, they knew what time it was. Like, motherfuckers got up out of Dodge. They know that these two groups didn't mess around. You know, the Cutthroat Committee / Dooney Boys. You know, the Dooney Boys is named after Dooney, you know, who was one of the original Hot Boys. You know, the 4 original Hot Boys. You had Dooney, Sterling, Mosquito, and Gangster, or Giggity. If I don't forget, I'm gonna touch on him in the same segment right here. But you know, this whole thing going on, you know, Slim forms Cutthroat, like I said. C Murders get locked up. BG and Slim comes together and started doing music together, but it was never really released in real time because of the death of Slim. But 12 o'clock, you know, I'm saying this. The name Cutthroat Committee, they was really about that whole cutthroatness, you know. Because look how 12 o'clock mentioned how BG wasn't really liked by Slim, so to say. We don't know because Slim ain't here to speak on that there. But there's numerous stories revolving around the whole Slim and BG relationship and the whole beef behind, you know, 12 o'clock with BG. Said that it was numerous. Some of them said that 12, his beef with BG was multi-level. They was saying that they felt that BG didn't retaliate for Slim death like he's supposed to. And then I heard that it was over BG's drug habit, how it was stunting and dwarfing their success in the music industry. So there was anger from 12 o'clock angle towards BG. And then it said that VL Mike was one of the acts or person that was there to instigate the whole beef, because you know VL Mike was one of the Chopper City boys under BG Chopper City imprint, and they had a fallout. And we all heard that, you know, VL Mike had his stripes. You know, VL's from Violent Street, same place with BG from. They up on Violence and Magnolia and that whole area. And Baby from Cash Money is from that area too. But you heard the stories about how VL Mike got out there in the streets, you know, so. But he had his beef with BG as well. And 12 o'clock. And then in August of 2010, August the 2nd, you know, 12 o'clock was murdered. You know, I think he was found by I think it was like a hotel attendant or something like that. They found him like slumped over, and they said that you know, he was pronounced dead on sight. So, but that's what that situation with 12 o'clock. But he had a lot of street beef as well. So, you know, the rumors out there, you know, the rumors, just like with VL Mike, beefing with BG, and they saying that BG might have put change on them. They always mention that everybody that BG beef with wind up dead or something like that, you know. This is what some of the people on the street saying. This is some of the people on the internet saying. But, you know, that's the deal with that. Then you had Double Crosser. You know, he was with Slim. And so Slim had got, you know, what happened. Let me go touch on Slim, you know. See, when I was Slim, he had his beef with Pete over his publishing and all his money. So he had a beef with them over that. He left. He started his own print. He dissed them on that Years Later. I think it's the Years Later. I forgot the name of the album right offhand, but he got at P, Slim, and Crazy. And I don't know how true it is. They said that Slim wasn't really he ain't really like Baby like that. That, you know, he had a beef with Baby too. A DL beef. I don't know how true that is, but I remember on that Crazy intro, he did like a little segment on YouTube, and he was talking about how he was really cool with Slim. And he felt that, you know, Slim got mad at him because he didn't leave No Limit when Slim left. And then he said the next thing you know, Slim put out a diss song about him. And he was surprised by that. And then he was saying that he felt that Slim was living up to that cutthroat shit that he talked about in his music. Like, he was really living that. But he said prior to that, he said him and Slim never had no problem with beef. You know, but Slim had a lot of beef out there in the streets too, with different dudes throughout the city. From his teenage years to his earlier in his early 20s. And I remember I mentioned in the last video on Slim that, you know, it was different stories about his death. And one of them being that, you know, saying that it was a hit put out through Telly Hankton because of that song, Let It Go Down, If It's Beef, that he mentioned robbing one of Telly's runners. Some people said something about P supposed they had did it, but P was over in Cali doing the thing with Romeo for the Romeo show. And plus P right hand man Boz is supposed to be Slim cousin from what I was told. And people say crazy stuff, that baby, you know, the streets. But when it came down to the come down, you know, it was that guy, Pharrell Smith, that had, supposed to have hit Slim up on November 26, 2003. I think it was Thanksgiving. On, Slim's mother and, stepfather lawn. You know, he said he was in the trunk getting something. And somebody ran up and they hit him 4 times in the face, 1 time in the chest. You know, so like I said, 12 o'clock was angry and upset for numerous reasons with BG. And I believe it had a lot to do with Slim business dealings and stuff like that. So, and it said that when Slim had died, or when he had his funeral and all that stuff like that, his second line, that he was buried in his fatigue outfit that he had on the cover of Give 'Em to Him Raw. You know? So you got Double Crossa. Like I said, he was with Slim. And then in 2005, Double Crossa had formed RH Publishing. You know, like a book, a publishing company. You know, and it was said that he was inspired by Donald Goins, you know, the one who put out all those different gangster books and pimp books. Said that Double Crosser was inspired by him. And he was shot in November 30th, 2016. You know, on some hate and stuff, some say, or some retaliation from a previous brief. You know, so said that his family, and when they went to go talk to his family, they said that Double Crosser had over 30 books and like put together already, and he had like a lot of poetry put together. And then you have Trenitty. Now, Trenitty is mysterious in a way, because you don't really hear about his street stats like that, but you know that he was out there though. You know, I believe that he was that, they call him the ghost of Soulja Slim, right? I believe he was that ghost of the clique, because he was there, but he had this like quietness to him. And those are the ones you gotta watch out the most, because those are the ones that'll put it on you. You know, like I said before, he rolled with Slim. He was there with Slim and Slim murdering them in that early like 2002, 2001 era. Like I said, you had the Cutthroat Comitty and C Murder and the Cut Boys in them. They always rolling deep, you know, just wrecking shit, you know. But Trenitty, he appeared on that True Dogs album, like I said before. He appeared in that Years Later album. And he was on a couple of those mixtapes that came out the Cutthroat Music Group. And in December of 11, 2018, Trenitty passed away. I don't know if he had cancer or whatever illness he had, but he had passed away. So that's crazy. But now we're gonna get into Logga. You know, Logga's in jail right now for murder. And the person he's supposed to have murder with name was Disco. I don't know if this is the Disco that's known from Uptown in New Orleans, but the person's name is Danny Disco Nelson. He was charged for hitting Disco up. You know, Slim, you know, he's in jail for 2nd-degree murder and all that. But he's supposed to have hit up Disco, I think, prior to that last murder, which was the 2nd-degree murder charge he was hit with. But we all know what Logga's famous for. He's famous for his quotes and his lines from off that Straight from the Projects video, where he said, "We straight cutthroat," and he said, "From the ground to the motherfucking sky." You heard me? it's real out here. And then I think he said, I got 17 in my back pocket and take it how you want. I forgot the actual lines, but that's Logga Black, you know. And Logga, he's a comical dude too. But he had, when it came down to Logga, he had like 9 convictions. And they said that his bail at first was like $250,000, but then they upped it when they put all his charges together. They upped Logga's bail to $1 million. Yep, $1 million. And he had like numerous charges, like grand theft auto charges. He had grand theft charges, burglary charges, you know, assault charges, drug offense. He had a lot of charges on his jacket already. And Logga was beef with numerous people. I don't know y'all remember that video of it was Logga and a couple of dudes out of the they was in a new Magnolia, and Logga said something about you can't come back to the NOLA. I'm this, I'm that. And they said that on that video, Logga was talking about Hot Bizu, who was a Magnolia resident, and also connected with the original. Well, Hot Bizu, who was also connected with the original Hot Boys and connected with Dooney Boys and all those other cliques out of the Magnolia, you know. And it was said that, you know, Magnolia had its different courtways, and certain sections was beefing with other ones over drug turf and a whole bunch of other stuff. But it was saying that Logga was getting that Hot Bizu. Now we know that Hot Bizu and BG was real tight. You seen them in a couple of videos, and on one of the videos is a video with, it's actually a song with BG and Hot Bizu sitting in the car and they reading paperwork on a person that snitched, and they said who snitched on the dad. They never said a name on that video, but everybody indicate that that person that they was talking about in that video was Terrence Gangsta Williams, the brother of Baby and Slim from Cash Money Records. And they sparked the beef between Terrence Gangsta Williams with BG and Hot Bizu. You know, he did a video from jail on a collect call, and he was talking about how he made Hot Bizu who he became because they was under him, and he said that BG was a replica of him. I'm mentioning all these different names and characters like that because if you notice around these whole stories that I'm naming, it's some cutthroatness going on, you know. So Logga is in jail, but another Cutthroat Committee associate or artist of the label, Lil Real One, he's in jail right now. And Chaotic just came out. I don't know what's going on with God right now, and Levy's out. But when it comes down to the main Cutthroat Committee group and artist, Logga Black is the only one living. But he's incarcerated right now. Yup, he's incarcerated. So Cutthroat Committee, as you know it, the original members is finished. You know, you only have Chaotic around. Lil Real One is locked up. Levy, God, I don't know what's going on there, but that's it. But the meat or the central characters of this group is finished. And one thing I noticed, it's a lot of death that revolves around this group. You know, a lot of controversy in New Orleans around the Cutthroat Committee. And wasn't just rap. It was everything else that revolved around this. They had a foot in the street and a foot in the industry. And sometimes you either gotta do one or the other. And the artists of the label still had that foot in one, and it eventually transpired to death of some of the people from the Cutthroat community, or jail or death. So that's it right there when it comes down to the Cutthroat Committee as far as the record label. But there wasn't no Coward label, wasn't no Studio Gangster, and none of the artists is from the Cutthroat Committee. It was what it was, and they really went out there and got it how they lived, and they lived what they rapped about. You follow? Shalom, salams, Godspeed.